الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نستمر في هذا الدرس الذي هو تكملة لدرس الأخوات، حيث ستكون عبارة عن جلسة لمدة فترة يعني أقصى شيء نصف ساعة للإجابة على أسئلة الأخوات بخصوص محاضرة Feminism and Islam. This is a continuation to the lecture just being presented before Salat al-Maghrib, Feminism and Islam, presented by Sheikh Ali Al-Tamimi. Now we have about half an hour, inshallah, to answer the questions raised by the sisters. Jazakumullah khair. Leave the microphone for Sheikh Ali Al-Tamimi.
Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ba'd. The first question the sister asks, I find that one of the reasons for women not accepting Islam is because of the bad treatment of women by Muslim men. Do you not think that men should be educated as well as men, or I guess as well as women, since Muslim men misuse their authority? Yes, I mean, it's obvious, as the sister mentioned, that our actions, whether, actions performed by men or women, often turns non-believers away from Islam, and every Muslim should obey Allah and fear Him as He deserves to be feared. And part of that is that we need to educate ourselves. Both women and men need to be educated regarding their mutual rights and obligations. Is it important for us to have female scholars? And how can a sister attain this level of knowledge? Yes, it is important that there are qualified scholars among women in order to be able better to teach other women and to be able to answer the questions of other women. Of course, that they don't have the restrictions that men would have, and more time could then be given to sisters to learn the religion if there were qualified female teachers and scholars. How could a sister attain this level of knowledge? Well, it's the same as with a brother trying to attain scholarship. I mean, the process is a rigorous one. It takes a number of years. It takes also a degree of worship of Allah and piety in order to be blessed by Allah to hold this type of knowledge. And so, I mean, the way that a male would seek knowledge is similar in the way a female would seek knowledge in its essence. And it usually begins with knowledge of the Quran, the Hadith, knowledge of fiqh, and then one graduates from level on level until one attains scholarship. It is believed by some non-Muslims that Muslim women have no rights, maybe because of some of our culture, so much so that people often feel sorry for you when they see a woman dressed Islamically. It is sad also to see some Muslim brothers, something, I can't read the writing, but some sort of reply to the sisters as feminists because they demand their rights and dwellings, mahar, etc. Please comment. Well, that non-Muslims use the criteria to see that if they see a sister dressed Islamically, that they feel sorry for her, they feel it's oppressed. This is because they consider freedom to be naked. And so if you're wearing clothes and you're modest and you're chaste, they consider this to be oppression. And this is because their yardstick, which they use to measure rights and or what oppression is and justice is obviously a yardstick which is based upon them following their desires. The real oppression is that women, in order for them to succeed in the West, they have to be pretty and they have to flaunt their bodies in order to attract attention to men, and they have to often engage in activities which they would not want to engage in given they had the choice in order for them to succeed and climb in society. And so the ones who are really oppressed are women who are reduced to just objects, sexual objects in Western society. That it's as far as the sister saying that Muslim brothers will, when sisters demand their rights, as calling them feminists because they demand their rights in dwellings and mahar and so forth, these brothers need to fear Allah Azza wa Jal, if as the sister has described, because obviously if a sister demands her right which was accorded to her from by Allah Azza wa Jal and His Prophet, no brother may deny that right from her in the first place. And secondly, to then belittle her and to accuse her of being a feminist, which in many cases feminists are really outside the fold of Islam, is just an additional sin which the person should avoid. Could the speaker please comment on the difference or style, and means of da'wah between men and women? Is there a difference? If so, for what reason? Some say sisters should not partake in da'wah. Well, in general, there's no difference regarding the style or the means of da'wah between brothers and sisters. They are commanded both by the Quran to call unto their Lord, "Id'u ila sabil rabbika bil hikmati," call unto the path of your Lord with wisdom, wal maw'idatil hasana, fair preaching, wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan, and argue with them in a manner which is best. So, in terms of the means, this is the same for both men and women. And likewise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, telling the Prophet to say to humanity, "Qul hadhihi sabili," say this is my path, "Ad'u ila Allahi ala basira," I call unto Allah upon sure-sightedness, "Ana wa man ittaba'ani," I and whoever follows me. So whoever follows the Prophet ﷺ calls unto Allah with sure-sightedness, and here his follower might be either a male or a female. There's no difference in that. However, there are some differences in the sense that men can address both men and women, but women should not address men unless there is a need for it. In other words, meaning that if the knowledge sought is found amongst men, then there's no reason for a woman to impart that knowledge to the men. They should seek it only from men. But for women, they can seek it from both men and women equally. And that is because of the problems of intermixing. And when the Sahaba did used to go to Aisha radiallahu anha or any of the other wives of the Prophet seeking some sort of question, answer to their question, it was only because they did not find that answer amongst the males of the society. As far as those people who say that sisters should not partake in da'wah, that is incorrect. Sisters are required to partake in da'wah because they fall under the obligation like men do. However, though, perhaps the people who are saying that sisters should not do what brothers do in da'wah, like traveling, and they should not, intermingle or give public lectures because of the requirements of hijab, because of the requirements of having a mahram when they travel and so forth. The sister writes, I would like to know about divorce. Is it the right that men can divorce without a reason? And are women able to obtain a khul'a without giving a reason? Or are they obliged to? And if they have to give a reason, could you explain this, please? Well, first of all, you should understand marriage is a contract. And it's a contract between two parties. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed that both parties can disengage from that contract in a certain way. As for our men, the way they disengage from that contract is through talaq, which is often translated as divorce. And here, talaq is something which is disliked in Islam in general. Something which, there is a hadith, although the hadith has weakness, that the most disliked of the halal, the most hated of the halal before Allah Azza wa Jal is divorce. And so in general, talaq, divorce, is considered something disliked and despised in the Sharia. And likewise, women can step out of this contract by means which is known as khul'a. And likewise, khul'a is disliked, but is permitted. The Prophet ﷺ said that it is permitted for women if they dislike, or the scholars have said, basing upon the statements of the Prophet ﷺ, that it's permitted for women to disengage from the marriage contract if she dislikes her husband's appearance or her husband's character. But likewise, the Prophet ﷺ informed us that if a woman seeks to disengage from the marriage contract without justification, she would not smell the scent of paradise, because it's sinful to divorce or to disengage from the marriage contract just because somebody wants to. It causes a great harmful effect within the family, within society as a whole. Does the woman, if she asks for a khul'a, required to state the reason why she wants to give the khul'a? She doesn't have required to state the reason. But it's always good, for instance, when people who have been married do decide to end that relationship between one another, that they try to give justification in order to help, ease or to help allow that disengagement to occur in a more peaceful manner. If somebody was just to come and to his wife and just divorce her and not give her any reason, I mean, it might leave a very bad impact. And likewise, if a sister was to ask Khula for her husband without explaining why, it would also, could result in a very negative impact. But in terms of in a pure legal sense, it's not required to state a reason, as far as I know, and Allah knows best.